The crystal chandelier above the Hollis family dining table cast shadows that looked like prison bars across my plate. I should have taken that as a warning. "Grant, dear," Evelyn Hollis said, her voice dripping with the kind of fake sweetness that could rot teeth. "When are you going to do something meaningful with your life? Dana deserves better than a construction worker." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I set down my fork carefully. 20 years in construction had taught me that the most dangerous collapses start with the smallest crack. "I own the construction company, Evelyn. We've been through this." "A small-town contractor," she waved dismissively, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "Dana could have married anyone. A doctor, a lawyer, someone with real ambition." My wife Dana sat beside me, perfectly still, not defending me, not correcting her mother, just sitting there like a beautiful statue while her family took turns using me as target practice. "Mother," Dana finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, "Grant works hard." "Hard work without vision is just sweat," Evelyn's husband Robert chimed in, cutting his prime rib with surgical precision. "At Dana's age, she should be living in a real house, not that modest little place you two share." The modest little place was a 4-bedroom colonial I'd built with my own hands. But to the Hollis family, anything under $1 million might as well have been a cardboard box. "Actually," I said, reaching for my water glass, "Dana and I have been looking at that new development on Maple Ridge, the 5-bedroom with the 3-car garage." Dana's head snapped toward me, eyes wide. We'd looked at the house, sure. We'd also looked at the price tag, $800,000, way more than we needed, but Dana had fallen in love with the master suite and the walk-in closets. "Really?" Evelyn perked up like a scavenger spotting an easy target. "When are you making an offer?" "Soon," I lied smoothly, just waiting for the right moment. The truth was, I'd been dragging my feet. The house was beautiful, but it felt like buying a costume for a play I didn't want to be in. Dana wanted it to impress her family, to prove we belonged in their world. I wanted a home that felt like home. "Well, it's about time," Robert said. "A man should provide properly for his wife." "Speaking of providing," Evelyn continued, "Dana mentioned you might expand the business. Hire more crews, take on bigger projects." I glanced at Dana. When had we discussed that? "The business is doing fine as it is." "Fine isn't enough anymore, Grant," Dana said quietly. "We're not getting younger. We need to think bigger." There it was. The crack in the foundation I'd been pretending not to see. Dana wasn't happy with our life. She wanted more money, more status, more everything. And sitting in this dining room surrounded by oil paintings and antique furniture, I could see why our comfortable middle-class existence felt small to her. "Ambition, Grant," Evelyn said, pointing her fork at me like a weapon. "That's what separates successful people from the rest. Dana has ambition. She's made that little boutique into something special." Dana managed the Elegance boutique downtown. It was a nice job, and she was good at it. But calling it something special was like calling a paper airplane a fighter jet. "The boutique is doing well," Dana said, a flush creeping up her neck. "Because you have vision," Evelyn continued. "You see possibilities. You don't just accept mediocrity." The word hit me like a slap. Mediocrity. Is that what my life looked like to them? 20 years of building homes, employing 12 good people, creating something solid and real. Was that mediocre? "I think Grant's done very well for himself," said Dana's Aunt Patricia, trying to throw me a lifeline. "Not everyone needs to conquer the world." "Exactly the problem," Evelyn snapped. "That settling mentality. Dana could have had anyone, and she chose this." She gestured at me like I was a stain on the tablecloth. I stood up slowly, feeling every eye in the room track my movement. "Thank you for dinner, Evelyn. It's been illuminating." "Where are you going?" Dana hissed. Home. To my mediocre house and my meaningless life. I walked out without another word, leaving behind the sound of shocked silence and Dana calling my name. In the driveway, I sat in my truck for a long moment, hands shaking with rage. Through the dining room window, I could see them all talking at once, probably dissecting my behavior like surgeons examining a tumor. My phone buzzed with a text from Dana. That was embarrassing. We'll talk when you get home. Embarrassing. Not, I'm sorry they treated you badly, or you didn't deserve that. Just embarrassing. I was about to start the engine when another text popped up on Dana's phone, which was sitting in the cup holder. She'd left it behind in her hurry to smooth things over with her family. The message was from someone labeled B in her contacts. Can't wait for tonight. Tell them you're working inventory again. I stared at the screen until it went dark, then picked up the phone and scrolled through the messages. B. Last night was incredible. When are you leaving him? Dana. Soon, after we get the house. I need the financial security first. B. I hate watching you pretend with that loser. Dana. It won't be much longer. Once everything's in my name, I'll file for divorce. B. I love you. Dana. Love you too. Delete these. I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. The expensive house she wanted in her name, the sudden push for business expansion that would tie up my assets, the way she'd been working late, going to inventory sessions that somehow required new lingerie. My wife was cheating on me, and planning to take me for everything I was worth. I started the truck and drove home through the dark streets, my mind racing. 23 years of marriage, and it had come to this. Dana thought I was a loser without ambition, someone to be used and discarded. Maybe it was time to show her what ambition really looked like. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in my home office, staring at Dana's phone and reading through months of messages with B. The affair had been going on for 6 months. 6 months of lies, secret meetings, and planning my financial destruction. By morning, I had a pretty clear picture of who B was. Brett Kincaid, personal trainer at Elite Fitness downtown. 38 years old, divorced, and apparently convinced that my wife was going to leave me for him. Dana came home at 11, her face carefully composed. We need to talk about last night. Yes, we do. I held up her phone. You forgot this. Her face went white. You went through my phone? Your boyfriend texted. Something about inventory. For a moment, she looked like she might deny it. Then something shifted in her expression, and I saw a hardness I'd never noticed before. How long have you known? Since last night. The question is, how long has it been going on? She sat down across from me, suddenly looking older. 6 months. And the house? The business expansion? That was all part of the plan? Grant, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. Get me to put everything in your name, then divorce me and take half of what's left. Very ambitious of you. She flinched at the word. It's not like that. Then explain it to me. Dana was quiet for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, colder. I'm tired, Grant. Tired of being married to someone who's content with ordinary. Brett makes me feel alive. Brett, the personal trainer. He has goals, dreams. He's not going to spend his whole life building other people's houses in a small town. Those houses put food on our table for 23 years. And I'm grateful, but I want more. I leaned back in my chair, studying this woman I thought I knew. More what? More money? More status? More excitement? All of it. Her chin came up defiantly. I'm 41 years old, Grant. If I don't make a change now, I never will. So you decided to cheat and steal instead of just asking for a divorce. The money isn't stealing. It's community property. Not if you commit fraud to get it. Her eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? I pulled out a folder I'd prepared. I called my lawyer this morning. Turns out, trying to manipulate your spouse into putting assets in your name before filing for divorce is considered fraudulent transfer, especially when you're having an affair. The color drained from her face. You can't prove. I can prove all of it. The texts, the timing, the sudden interest in expensive purchases. My lawyer says it's a textbook case. Dana stood up abruptly, pacing to the window. What do you want? I want to know who you really are, because the woman I married wouldn't have done this. The woman you married was young and stupid. She thought love was enough. And now? She turned to face me, and I saw a stranger. Now I know better. That afternoon, I drove to Elite Fitness. It was one of those upscale gyms with floor-to-ceiling windows and equipment that looked like it belonged on a spaceship. Through the glass, I could see Brett Kincaid leading a group fitness class. He was everything I wasn't. Tall, muscular, with the kind of easy confidence that came from being admired by women half his age. I could see why Dana was attracted to him. What I couldn't see was why he'd want a 41-year-old married woman when he probably had his pick of single clients. Unless it wasn't about Dana at all. Unless it was about what Dana could bring to the table. I waited in the parking lot until his class ended, then followed him to a coffee shop down the street. He ordered something complicated with oat milk and sat by the window, scrolling through his phone. I walked up to his table. Brett Kincaid? He looked up, confused. Yeah? I'm Grant Merrick, Dana's husband. The color drained from his face, but to his credit, he didn't run. Oh, mind if I sit? He gestured to the empty chair, his eyes darting toward the exit. Relax, I said. I'm not here to cause a scene. I just want to understand something. Look, man, I never meant for it to happen. Sure you did. I leaned back, studying him. Question is, what did you think was going to happen? Did you really believe she was going to leave me for you? Brett's jaw tightened. She is leaving you. Is she? Or is she just using you to make herself feel better about committing fraud? What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and showed him one of Dana's texts. Once everything's in my name, I'll file for divorce. Brett read it, his frown deepening. She's just being practical. She's being criminal. Did you know that manipulating your spouse into transferring assets before filing for divorce is fraud? Did you know that if I press charges, she could go to prison? You're bluffing. Am I? Want to bet your girlfriend's freedom on it? Brett stared at me for a long moment. What do you want? I want you to understand what you've gotten yourself into. Dana isn't some unhappy housewife looking for true love. She's a woman who's decided that cheating and stealing is easier than earning what she wants. You don't know her like I do. I've known her for 23 years. How long have you known her? 6 months? Brett's silence was answer enough. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. I'm going to give Dana a choice. She can end this affair, come clean about the financial manipulation, and we'll try to work things out. Or she can continue down this path, and I'll make sure both of you face the consequences. You can't threaten me. I'm not threatening you. I'm educating you. There's a difference. I stood up, leaving him sitting there with his oat milk latte and his suddenly uncertain future. That evening, Dana came home with takeout from our favorite restaurant. A peace offering, I assumed. How was your day? She asked, setting the containers on the kitchen counter. Educational. I met Brett. She froze. You what? Nice guy. A little naive, but nice. I don't think he fully understood what he was getting into. Grant, you can't what? Can't protect my own interests? Can't investigate when my wife is planning to defraud me? She turned to face me, and I saw fear in her eyes for the first time. What did you tell him? The truth. That you're not just having an affair, you're committing a crime. That if you go through with this plan, both of you could face serious consequences. It's not a crime to divorce you. It's a crime to manipulate me into transferring assets under false pretenses. It's called fraudulent conveyance, and it's a felony. Dana sank into a chair, suddenly looking defeated. I never meant for it to go this far. Then end it. Now, before you destroy both our lives. She was quiet for a long time. When she finally looked up, I saw the woman I'd married 23 years ago, scared, confused, but not yet lost. I don't know if I can. Why not? Because I don't know how to be happy with ordinary anymore. And there it was, the real problem, not Brett, not the money, not even the affair. Dana had convinced herself that our life together wasn't enough, and once that seed was planted, it had grown into something that was choking out everything good between us. Then maybe we should talk about what would make you happy. The real way, not the criminal way. For a moment I thought she might try. I thought we might find a way back to each other. Then her phone buzzed with a text, and I saw her eyes flick toward it involuntarily. Even now, even caught red-handed, she was still thinking about him. I need time, she said. How much time? I don't know. I nodded, understanding that she'd already made her choice. She just didn't have the courage to say it out loud. Okay, take all the time you need. But Dana? Yeah? Don't underestimate me again. You called me a man without ambition. You're about to find out how wrong you were. 3 days later, Dana moved out. She claimed she needed space to think, but I knew she'd moved in with Brett. My lawyer confirmed what I'd suspected. She was trying to establish residency elsewhere before filing for divorce, probably hoping it would complicate the asset division. What she didn't know was that I'd been busy. On Monday morning, I walked into First National Bank and sat down with Patricia Reeves, the vice president who'd handled my business accounts for 15 years. Grant, she said, looking uncomfortable. Dana was here Friday asking about transferring the business accounts into joint names. She said you discussed it but forgot to sign the paperwork. And what did you tell her? That any changes to business accounts require your signature and presence. She seemed upset. I bet she was. Patricia, I need to make some changes to my accounts. All of them. By the end of the week, I'd restructured everything. The business accounts were now held by a new LLC with ironclad protections. The house was protected by a homestead exemption. Our joint personal accounts were frozen pending divorce proceedings. Dana's credit cards, which were tied to my accounts, were canceled. She found out Saturday morning when her card was declined at an expensive restaurant. The same restaurant where she was having brunch with Brett and her mother. My phone rang at 11 a.m. What the hell did you do? Dana's voice was shaking with rage. I protected my assets from fraudulent transfer, just like my lawyer advised. You can't cut me off without warning. I can, and I did. You want to play financial games? Let's play. This is vindictive and petty. This is smart business. Something you said I didn't understand. She hung up on me. An hour later, my doorbell rang. Dana stood on the porch with Brett behind her, looking like backup muscle. It might have been intimidating if Brett wasn't wearing yoga pants and a tank top that said, Namaste Strong. We need to talk, Dana said. We can talk through lawyers. Grant, please, don't be like this. Like what? Like someone who doesn't appreciate being cheated on and robbed? Brett stepped forward. Look, man, this doesn't have to get ugly. I almost laughed. It got ugly the moment you decided to sleep with my wife. Everything since then is just consequences. We didn't plan for it to happen, Brett said. Sometimes people just connect. Is that what you call it? I call it adultery and conspiracy to commit fraud. Dana grabbed Brett's arm before he could respond. Smart woman. The last thing she needed was her boyfriend making threats on my doorstep. What do you want? She asked. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You wanted to see ambition? This is what it looks like when it's pointed at you. I never meant to hurt you. Yes, you did. You just thought I was too stupid to fight back. That night, I got a call from my friend Mike Stevens. We'd known each other since high school, and our wives had been close friends for years. "Hey, Grant. Linda wanted me to call. She's worried about Dana." "Worried how?" "She heard about the separation. Dana called her crying, said you'd frozen all her accounts and left her with nothing." I felt a familiar anger building. "Is that what she said?" "Look, I don't know what's going on between you two, but Linda thinks maybe you're being a little harsh. Dana's scared, man. She's staying with friends, can't afford her own place. She's staying with her boyfriend, Mike, the personal trainer she's been cheating with for 6 months." Silence on the other end of the line. "You sure about that?" "I've got text messages, photos, bank records showing she's been spending money on hotels and gifts for him. I'm sure." "Shit, Grant, I'm sorry. Linda had no idea. Most people don't. Dana's been very careful about her image." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make sure she doesn't profit from betraying me. Beyond that, I haven't decided." After I hung up, I realized something had shifted. For 23 years, Dana and I had shared the same circle of friends. Now I was going to have to watch them choose sides. Some would believe her version of events. Others would dig deeper and learn the truth. It was going to get messy. Sunday morning, I was drinking coffee on my back deck when my neighbor Tom Walsh came over. Tom was a good guy, a plumber with his own business, and a wife who taught elementary school. "Hey, Grant, how are you holding up?" "I'm fine, Tom. Thanks for asking. Listen, I don't know if this matters, but I saw Dana here yesterday with some guy. They were loading boxes into his car." My jaw tightened. She was supposed to call before coming by. They were here for about an hour, seemed to be taking a lot of stuff. I went inside and did a quick inventory. Dana had taken more than clothes and personal items. She'd taken expensive wedding gifts, artwork we'd bought together, even some of my tools from the garage. I called my lawyer. "She's testing you," Jim Hartley said, "seeing how far she can push before you push back." "What can I do about it?" "Document everything that's missing. File a police report if necessary. And Grant, change your locks, today." By Monday morning, I'd changed the locks and installed a security system. I also drove by Elite Fitness and noticed Dana's car in the parking lot at 10 a.m. Interesting, since she was supposed to be at work. I called the boutique. "Elegance Boutique, this is Melissa." "Hi, Melissa. Is Dana available?" "Oh, hi, Mr. Merrick. Dana called in sick today. Can I take a message?" "No message. Thanks." So she was lying to her employer now, too. I wondered how long she could keep up the charade before it all came crashing down. I didn't have to wait long to find out. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from Linda Stevens. "Grant, I owe you an apology. Mike told me what's really been going on." "You don't owe me anything, Linda." "Yes, I do. I believed Dana's story without questioning it. That wasn't fair to you. People believe what they want to believe. I'm not calling just to apologize. I'm calling to warn you. Dana's been talking to people, trying to get them to take her side. She's telling everyone that you're being financially abusive, that you've left her homeless and penniless. And people are believing her? Some are, the ones who don't know the whole story. What about the ones who do know?" Linda sighed. "That's the thing, Grant. Even some of the people who know about the affair think you're going too far. They think you should be more forgiving." There it was. The thing I'd been dreading. In a small town, a man who fought back too hard against a cheating wife was seen as vindictive. A woman who cheated was seen as confused or unhappy, deserving of sympathy. "Thanks for the heads up, Linda." "Grant, for what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. Dana made her choices. Now she has to live with them." After I hung up, I sat in my office thinking about the conversation. Dana was playing the victim, and it was working. She was turning our friends against me, making me look like the bad guy. Maybe it was time to stop playing defense and start playing offense. That evening, I drove to O'Malley's pub downtown. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone and gossip flowed as freely as beer. If I was going to tell my side of the story, this was the place to do it. I found a seat at the bar and ordered a beer. Within minutes, people started coming over to talk. Some offered sympathy for the separation. Others seemed to be fishing for information. "Heard you and Dana are having some troubles," said Rick Morrison, a local contractor I'd known for years. "We're getting divorced," I said simply. "Sorry to hear that. She seems like a nice lady." "She is. She's also been cheating on me for 6 months with a personal trainer half her age." Rick's eyebrows shot up. "No kidding?" "No kidding. Found out she was planning to manipulate me into putting our assets in her name, then file for divorce and take everything." Word spread quickly in a small bar. By the time I finished my second beer, half the room knew the basic facts. By the time I left, I was confident the story would be all over town by morning. Dana called me at 7 a.m., screaming, "How dare you air our personal business in public? You started the public relations campaign, not me. I just decided to tell the truth, instead of letting you control the narrative. You're trying to destroy my reputation. I'm trying to protect mine. There's a difference. People are looking at me like I'm some kind of criminal." "If the shoe fits, Dana." She hung up on me again, but I wasn't done. Not even close. The call came on a Thursday morning from Janet Morrison, the owner of Elegance Boutique. "Grant, I'm sorry to bother you, but I need to ask you something about Dana." "What's going on, Janet?" "She's been missing a lot of work lately, calling in sick, leaving early, coming in late. And yesterday, I caught her using the store computer for personal business during work hours." I wasn't surprised. Dana's life was falling apart, and she was struggling to keep up appearances. "I'm sorry she's causing problems at work. It's not your fault. But Grant, there's something else. I think she might be entertaining someone in the store after hours." "What do you mean?" "The security system showed the store being accessed Sunday night at 11 p.m. Dana has a key, but she's not supposed to be there alone after hours. And when I came in Monday morning, things were disheveled." "Disheveled how?" "The fitting room looked like it had been used. There were wine glasses in my office. And I found this." She paused, and I could hear papers rustling. "It's a man's watch. Expensive. Not the kind of thing a customer would leave behind." I closed my eyes, feeling sick. Dana was using her employer's business as a love nest. "Janet, you need to fire her, today." I was hoping to avoid that. She's been with me for 3 years. "She's stealing from you, using your property for personal activities, lying about sick days, neglecting her work. How much more do you need?" Janet sighed. "You're right. I just hate to see anyone's life fall apart like this. Her life is falling apart because of choices she made. Don't let her take your business down with her." An hour later, Dana called me, sobbing. "Janet fired me. She said I was using the store inappropriately." "Were you? That's not the point. I need this job, Grant. I have bills to pay. You should have thought of that before you decided to use your workplace as a hotel. How did you—" She stopped, realizing she'd just confirmed it. "How did I know? Because you're predictable, Dana. You always take the easy way out, even when it's stupid. I have nowhere to go. Brett's apartment is too small and I can't afford my own place without a job. You could try telling the truth and asking for help instead of lying and stealing." "From who? You've turned everyone against me." "I told people the truth. If that turned them against you, maybe the problem isn't me." She was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder. "You think you've won, don't you? This isn't a game, Dana." "Yes, it is. And you think you're so smart, but you have no idea what's coming." "What's that supposed to mean?" "You'll find out." She hung up, leaving me with an uneasy feeling that I'd just been threatened. That afternoon, I got a visit from Detective Ray Lavoie of the local police. Ray and I had gone to high school together, and he'd hired my company to build his deck 2 years ago. "Grant, I need to ask you some questions about Dana. My stomach dropped. What kind of questions? She filed a complaint yesterday, says you've been harassing her, following her, making threats. I stared at him. That's complete bullshit, Ray. I figured it might be, but I have to investigate. She says you confronted her boyfriend at a coffee shop and threatened him. I talked to him. I didn't threaten him. She also says you've been stalking her, showing up at her work, tracking her movements. I went to her work once to talk to her about the divorce, and I haven't been tracking her movements. I don't need to. Half the town tells me where she is because they think I should know. Ray nodded, making notes. She mentioned something about freezing her bank accounts and credit cards. Says you left her destitute. I protected my assets from fraudulent transfer. She was planning to manipulate me into putting everything in her name, then divorce me and take half of what was left. Can you prove that? I pulled out my phone and showed him some of Dana's text messages. Ray read them, his expression growing grim. Jesus, Grant, she really planned all this? 6 months worth of planning. The affair, the financial manipulation, everything. Why didn't you come to me with this? Because I wanted to handle it civilly. Apparently that was a mistake. Ray closed his notebook. I'm going to file a report that says the complaint is unfounded. But Grant, be careful. A woman who'll plan something like this won't hesitate to escalate if she feels cornered. What do you mean? I mean, false accusations can ruin a man's life even if they're proven false later. Don't give her any ammunition. That evening, I was working late in my office when I heard a car pull into my driveway. Through the window, I saw Brett's BMW. He got out alone and walked to my front door. I answered the door but didn't invite him in. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't. Look, this has gotten out of hand. Dana's falling apart. She lost her job, she's got no money, and now the police are involved. And that's my problem, how? Because you're destroying her life over a mistake. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. A mistake? 6 months of lying, cheating, and planning to defraud me is a mistake? She never meant to hurt you. Yes, she did. She just thought I was too weak to fight back. Brett's jaw tightened. You're not the victim here, man. You're a bitter husband who can't accept that his wife doesn't love him anymore. And you're a homewrecker who thought he'd found an easy mark. How's that working out for you? Better than you think. Dana's filing for divorce next week. She's going to get half of everything, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. I smiled. Is that what she told you? That's what her lawyer told her. Her lawyer is an idiot. Maine is an equitable distribution state, not a community property state. And when a spouse commits adultery and attempts fraudulent transfer of assets, the court tends to be very unsympathetic. Brett's confidence wavered. You're bluffing. Am I? Want to bet Dana's financial future on it? You can't prove fraud. I pulled out my phone and showed him the text messages. I can prove all of it. The affair, the planning, the manipulation. Your girlfriend is going to be lucky if she doesn't go to prison, let alone get half my assets. Brett read the messages, his face growing pale. She said you'd never find out. She said a lot of things. Most of them were lies. What do you want? I want you to understand something. Dana isn't the victim in this story. She's a woman who decided that cheating and stealing was easier than working for what she wanted. And you're not her knight in shining armor. You're an accessory to fraud. I never knew about the financial stuff. Ignorance isn't a defense. You knew she was married. You knew she was lying to her husband. You chose to participate anyway. Brett was quiet for a long moment. What happens now? Now you both face the consequences of your choices. Dana's going to lose the divorce, lose her reputation, and probably lose you when you realize what she's really cost you. And you're going to learn that sleeping with married women isn't a victimless crime. You're enjoying this. No, I'm not. I'm protecting myself from people who thought I was too stupid to fight back. Brett turned and walked back to his car without another word. As he drove away, I realized something had changed. For the first time in months, I felt like I was winning. But Dana wasn't done fighting. The next morning, I woke up to find my truck vandalized. Someone had keyed "bastard" into the paint and slashed 2 tires. I called the police and filed a report, but I knew they'd never prove who did it. Dana was too smart to get caught red-handed, and Brett had probably been with her as an alibi. But I was done playing defense. It was time to end this war. I spent the weekend planning my counterattack. Dana wanted to play dirty? Fine. But she was about to learn that I'd been holding back, not because I couldn't fight, but because I'd hoped we could end this with some dignity intact. That hope was officially gone. Monday morning, I drove to the courthouse and filed for an emergency restraining order. The vandalism gave me grounds, and the text messages gave me motive. By noon, Dana was legally prohibited from coming within 500 feet of me or my property. She found out when a sheriff's deputy served her the papers at Brett's apartment. My phone rang 20 minutes later. "You snake!" Dana screamed. "A restraining order, really? You vandalized my truck. What did you expect?" "I didn't vandalize anything." "Sure you didn't. Just like you didn't cheat, didn't lie, and didn't plan to defraud me. This is harassment. This is protection. From you. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to take you for everything you have. Good luck with that. Your lawyer might want to explain how adultery and attempted fraud affect property division in Maine." She hung up, but I knew this was just the beginning. Tuesday morning, I got a call from my business partner, Tommy Russo. Tommy and I had started the construction company together 15 years ago, and he was one of the few people who knew all the details of what Dana had tried to do. "Grant, we got a problem. Someone called the state licensing board and filed a complaint against us." "What kind of complaint?" "Fraud, unsafe practices, unlicensed work. All bullshit, but they have to investigate." "Who filed it?" "Anonymous tip, but it came with copies of old permits and photos of job sites, someone who had access to our files." Dana. She'd been in my home office dozens of times over the years, had access to all my business records. She was trying to destroy my company. "How bad is this, Tommy?" "Could be real bad if they find anything. We'll have to shut down active jobs until the investigation is complete. Could take months." I felt rage building in my chest. Going after me was one thing, but Tommy had a wife and 2 kids. My other employees had families to feed. Dana was willing to destroy innocent people to get revenge on me. "Tommy, I need you to do something for me." "Name it." "Call every contractor in town. Tell them what's happening. Make sure they know that Dana is behind it and why." "You sure you want to do that? It's going to make her look pretty bad." She made herself look bad. I'm just making sure people know who they're dealing with. By Wednesday, word had spread through the local construction community. Dana had declared war not just on me, but on my business and my employees. The response was swift and brutal. Dana had been looking for a new job since losing her position at the boutique. Suddenly, no one was hiring. Stores that had seemed interested a week ago were no longer taking applications. The few places that did interview her found reasons not to hire her. In a small town, reputation mattered, and Dana's reputation was now toxic. Thursday afternoon, I got a call from Jim Hartley, my lawyer. "Grant, Dana's attorney wants to meet. Says his client is ready to discuss settlement terms." "What kind of terms?" 50-50 split of assets, no alimony, clean break." I laughed. "Tell him to go to hell." "Grant, it might not be a bad deal. Jim, she cheated on me, tried to defraud me, vandalized my property, and filed false police reports. Now she's trying to destroy my business and put my employees out of work. She gets nothing." "The court might not see it that way." "Then let's go to court. I've got evidence of everything she's done. Let a judge decide what she deserves. If we go to trial, everything becomes public record. The affair, the text messages, all of it." "Good. Maybe other people will learn from her mistakes." Friday morning, I was having coffee at Murphy's Diner when Linda Stevens slid into the booth across from me. "Grant, I need to talk to you." "What's up, Linda?" "It's about Dana and our friends." I set down my coffee cup. "I'm listening." "She's been calling people, trying to get them to choose sides. Some are supporting her, saying you're being too vindictive." "And what do you think?" "I think she made her bed." "But Grant, some of these people have been our friends for 20 years. This is tearing the whole community apart." "I didn't start this war, Linda." "No, but you're the one who can end it. By letting her get away with it? By being the bigger person." I studied Linda's face. She was a good woman, a loyal friend, but she didn't understand what Dana had really tried to do to me. "Linda, let me ask you something. If Mike cheated on you, planned to steal your house and your business, then tried to destroy your livelihood when you fought back, what would you do?" She was quiet for a long moment. "I'd want to eliminate him." "But you wouldn't, because you're not that kind of person." "Well, I'm not the kind of person who lets people destroy my life without consequences." "So what happens now?" "Now Dana learns that actions have consequences, and our friends learn who they really want to associate with." That afternoon, I got an unexpected visitor. Evelyn Hollis stood on my doorstep, looking older and more fragile than I'd ever seen her. "Grant, may I come in?" I stepped aside, curious about what Dana's mother wanted. She sat in my living room, looking around at the house her daughter had wanted to leave. "I owe you an apology," she said finally. "For what?" "For what I said at dinner. About ambition, about Dana deserving better. I was wrong." "Were you?" "I raised Dana to believe she was entitled to more than she had. I taught her that what you provided wasn't enough. I'm afraid I created a monster." I sat down across from her. "Dana made her own choices, Evelyn." "Yes, but I influenced those choices. I made her dissatisfied with a good life because it wasn't a perfect life." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because she's my daughter and I love her. But I can't support what she's done. And because I want you to know that not everyone in my family thinks you're the villain in this story." "What does Robert think?" "Robert thinks Dana got what she deserved. He never liked the way she treated you." We sat in silence for a moment. "Is there any way to fix this?" Evelyn asked. "That's up to Dana. She can stop fighting and accept a reasonable settlement, or she can keep escalating until she loses everything. And if she keeps fighting, then I'll keep fighting back. And I'm better at it than she is." Evelyn nodded sadly. "I was afraid you'd say that." After she left, I sat alone in my house, thinking about the conversation. For the first time since this started, I felt a little sorry for Dana. She'd been raised to believe she deserved more than she had, and when she finally tried to take it, she'd chosen the worst possible way. But feeling sorry for her didn't change what she'd done, or what I was going to do about it. The war wasn't over. It was just getting started. The final blow came on a Monday morning in November, 6 months after I'd first discovered Dana's betrayal. I was in my office when Jim Hartley called with news that would end everything. "Grant, you need to get down to the courthouse, now." "What's happening?" "Dana's been arrested." I drove to the courthouse in a daze. When I arrived, I found Jim waiting with Detective Lavoie and a woman I didn't recognize. "Grant, this is Agent Sarah Mitchell from the State Attorney General's office," Jim said. Agent Mitchell shook my hand. "Mr. Merrick, we need to talk about your wife's recent activities." We sat in a conference room, and Agent Mitchell opened a thick file. "For the past month, we've been investigating a series of fraudulent insurance claims in the area. Your wife's name came up in connection with several suspicious incidents." "What kind of incidents?" "Staged accidents, fake injuries, inflated damage claims. She's been working with a network of people to defraud insurance companies." I stared at her. "Are you sure?" "Very sure. We have surveillance footage, bank records, and testimony from co-conspirators. Your wife has been involved in insurance fraud for at least 8 months." 8 months. That meant she'd started before the affair, before the plan to defraud me. Dana hadn't just been cheating on me, she'd been living a completely double life. There's more, Agent Mitchell continued. We believe she used information from your construction business to identify targets, houses you'd worked on, clients you'd served. She knew which properties were valuable and which owners might be vulnerable. I felt sick. Dana had been using my business, my reputation, my relationships to commit crimes. What happens now? She's been charged with multiple felonies: wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy, racketeering. If convicted, she's looking at 15 to 20 years in federal prison. And Brett Kincaid? He's been arrested too. Turns out he was more than just your wife's boyfriend. He was her partner in the fraud scheme. Everything suddenly made sense. The affair hadn't been about love or even lust. It had been about crime. Brett and Dana had been using their relationship as cover for a criminal enterprise. We'll need you to testify, Agent Mitchell said, about the business information she had access to, the financial manipulation she attempted. Everything. Of course. Mr. Merrick, I want you to understand something. Your wife isn't the woman you thought you married. She's a career criminal who's been using you and your business as cover for years. That afternoon, I sat in my office trying to process everything I'd learned. Dana wasn't just an unfaithful wife who'd made bad choices. She was a criminal who'd been using me as an unwitting accomplice. My phone rang. It was Dana calling from jail. Grant, please, I need you to bail me out. No. Please, I can explain everything. I'm sure you can. You've gotten very good at lying. It's not what you think. I got in over my head, but I never meant for it to go this far. How far back does it go, Dana? How long have you been using my business to commit crimes? Silence. How long? I repeated. 2 years, she whispered. 2 years. While I'd been building homes and employing good people, my wife had been using my work to identify targets for fraud. Did you ever love me, or was I just useful? I loved you. I still love you. No, you don't. You love what I could provide. The cover, the respectability, the access to information. I was never a husband to you. I was just a tool. That's not true. Then why didn't you just divorce me? Why the elaborate plan to steal my assets? Because I needed the money. The people I was working with, they don't accept failure. If I didn't deliver what I promised, they would have hurt me. So you decided to hurt me instead. I thought you'd never find out. I thought I could take the money and disappear, and you'd be better off without me. Better off without you? Dana, you tried to destroy my business. You put my employees at risk. You used my reputation to commit crimes. How is any of that better for me? She was crying now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please don't let them send me to prison. I can't stop them, and I wouldn't if I could. Grant, please. I'm your wife. No, you're not. You haven't been my wife for a long time. You've been a stranger living in my house, using my name, stealing my life. I hung up and blocked her number. The trial took place the following spring. I testified about the information Dana had access to, the clients she'd met, the financial manipulation she'd attempted. The evidence was overwhelming. Dana and Brett were both convicted on all counts. She got 18 years in federal prison. He got 15. At sentencing, Dana's lawyer asked if I wanted to make a victim impact statement. I declined. I'd said everything I needed to say. But as Dana was led away in shackles, she turned and looked at me one last time. I saw no remorse in her eyes, no regret, just anger that she'd been caught. After the trial, I drove home to my house now free and clear. I sat on the back deck with a beer and thought about the past year. People in town still talked about what had happened. Some thought I'd been too harsh, too unforgiving. Others thought Dana had gotten what she deserved. I didn't care what they thought anymore. Tommy stopped by that evening with a bottle of whiskey. How you feeling, partner? Free, I said. For the first time in years, I feel free. Any regrets? About Dana? No. About the marriage? Maybe. I should have seen what she was sooner. Nobody sees what they don't want to see. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the town where I'd lived my entire life. So what now? Tommy asked. Now I build things, real things, honest things, and I never again underestimate what people are capable of when they think you're too weak to fight back. Think you'll ever get married again? I laughed. Ask me in about 20 years. As Tommy left, I thought about Dana's words at that dinner so long ago. She'd wanted to see ambition, real ambition. She'd thought I was content with mediocrity, satisfied with ordinary. She'd been wrong about that, just like she'd been wrong about everything else. I'd shown her ambition. I'd shown her what happened when someone with real determination decided to fight back. Dana had called me a man without vision, someone who would never amount to anything. Now she was in federal prison, and I was sitting on my deck, free and clear, with my business thriving and my reputation intact. I raised my beer in a mock toast to the empty evening air. Here's to ambition, Dana. You finally got to see what mine looks like.